Hey, it's Jacob. Welcome to this new video. Today, you're going to learn how to use task batching to do more in a set period of time. If you stay till the end of the video, I will give you an action plan to implement it in your life. So first, the problem is that people confuse task batching with multitasking, and that's what I'm going to talk about right now. So first, multitasking is doing several tasks at the same time. For example, if you are doing social media activities while you are processing your emails, then you are doing those two things at the same time. Or if you're doing instant messaging on whatever platform while you're working, that's also doing two things at once. Of course, when I talk about doing two things at once, effectively you are switching back and forth between those two activities. Another example is if you're opening more than one project on your desktop and you're working on those two things at once. This is also another example of multitasking. So there are a few problems with this approach. The first one being that it cannot be trained. So what does that mean that it can't be trained? People that are multitaskers or that multitask a lot are actually not better at multitasking than people that are not used to it. So in other words, you either do it or you don't, but you're not getting any better at it. That's the first problem with multitasking. The second problem is the most difficult part of doing a task is to start. So for example, let's say you're instant messaging while working. So you're working and then you receive an instant message. So you reply and then you start working again. And then you get another message. So you start replying. And then you start working again. Do you see where I'm going with this? You're doing the most difficult part of a task, which is to start again and again and again. So that's why you're making it a lot harder than it needs to be. Have you ever procrastinated in your life, ever? If you did, then you know that starting is the worst. You're making your life a living hell by doing this. So to recap, the reason why multitasking doesn't work is because it both can be trained and depletes your willpower. So now that we know what multitasking is, let's talk about what batching is. So batching is doing a specific step for several tasks sequentially, not at the same time. So the confusion comes from the fact that in both multitasking and batching, we're talking about several tasks. But in batching, we do different tasks, yes, but we do one step of different tasks and we do them one after the other. So, all right, fine. How is that better? So the reasons why this is better is because there are tangible reasons for it, such as economy of scale. Let me explain. So for example, if one step of a task requires some kind of preparation, well then if you are batching that step, you're not going to have to prepare yourself again and again. You just prepare yourself once and then you do all those steps for all those separate tasks. So you're leveraging your preparation time for that step, and that's why there is that economy of scale. So that's the first reason. It leverages your time effectively. Second reason, you're not using the same part of your brain for every step of a single task. So let's talk about this one through different examples. First example, creating a video. So the different steps for that task would be 1, finding ideas, 2, writing the script, and 3, shooting the video. So you are going to use the creative part of your brain when you're going to write the script, but you're not going to use that same part of your brain while shooting. So that makes sense to categorize those steps by brain activities. Same thing for when you're writing an article. You have to write, edit, and publish. Or when you're writing a book, you have to outline, write, and edit. And it's really rare that an author is gonna outline one chapter, read that chapter, and edit it, and then move on to the next. Most likely, authors do the outline for the entire book, write the entire book, and then edit the entire book. And that's actually a huge mistake that a lot of beginner writers are doing. They don't separate the writing from the editing process. They just merge them together. And this is so inefficient that some authors feel like they're not moving forward and that they're running rounds in circles. So now that you know exactly what task batching is, let me give you an action plan to implement it in your life. Step 1, identify a repetitive task, something that you do more than once. So again, you have writing articles, writing books. That really depends on what you're doing. But the point is identify one that you're actually doing. Second step, write every step required to achieve that task. And the trick is be as granular as you can, because the more steps you have, the easier it's going to be to do the next step, which is categorizing all those steps And there are two ways to go about it. The first possible type of categories is brain activities. Is that a creative step, or is that more of a rational one? Or do you even have more brain categories for you? It doesn't really matter how we call our brain activity types. The point is that these different types require some kind of momentum to get to your peak performance. This way, when you're performing those type of brain activities, you get an economy of scale because you don't have to get that momentum again and again and again and again. So that's one way of categorizing the different steps of the task that you identified. The second way is by material preparation. How do you have to prepare for each step? So for example, if the step is shooting a video, then you might need a lot of different things like good lighting, a camera or mic. So if you're batching shooting videos, then you won't have to prepare all those things every time. You will just have to do it once. So once everything is written on paper, then it makes it very easy to implement task batching into your life. So we're already at the end of this video, so if you want to learn more, click on the link in the description. You'll get a free online course. Have a great day and see you in the next video.